If you decided to eat a different type of apple every single day, it would take you more than 20 years to try them all. Most of us only know the 3 or 4 kinds we see at the grocery store, but there is a hidden world of fruit right under our noses. We think of apples as a simple snack, but they have a history filled with bears, ancient Silk Roads, and even a strange connection to roses. By the end of this video, you will realize that the apple in your lunchbox is far more mysterious than you ever imagined. You might even find out that you have been storing them in a way that actually makes them rot faster without you knowing it. Let's start with something that sounds totally fake, but is actually a scientific fact. The apple tree is part of the same family as the rose, which explains why they both smell so incredible when they are in bloom. If you look closely at a rose hip, you can see the family resemblance to the tiny crab apples you find in the woods. This family is called Rosaceae, and it includes heavy hitters like pears, peaches, plums, and even cherries. It is like a giant family reunion of the most delicious snacks on the planet, all sharing the same botanical DNA. But if we want to find the very first apple, we have to travel far away from the local supermarket. The original home of the apple is tucked away in the mountains of Kazakhstan, specifically a place called Almaty. In fact, the name Almaty actually means City of Apples, which is a pretty big hint about its history. Thousands of years ago, there were massive forests of wild apple trees that looked nothing like the neat rows we see in orchards today. These wild trees were full of variety, with some apples tasting like honey and others tasting like sour lemon or even spicy pepper. Scientists have tracked the DNA of our modern apples back to a specific ancestor called Malus sieversii. But how did a fruit from a remote mountain range in Central Asia end up in your kitchen in the suburbs? The answer lies with the ancient Silk Road, where travelers and traders moved goods between the east and the west. Horses and camels would eat these wild apples, walk for miles, and then leave the seeds behind in their waste along the trails. Over hundreds of years, these seeds grew into new trees, and humans began picking the very best ones to plant near their homes. When European colonists eventually sailed to the Americas, they brought these seeds with them, hoping to grow a taste of home. However, growing an apple tree is not as simple as just putting a seed in the ground and waiting for a snack. Apple trees are deciduous, which means they lose all their leaves every year to survive the cold winter months. They need a certain amount of cold weather, called chill hours, to reset their internal clock so they can bloom in the spring. If the winter is too warm, the tree gets confused and might not produce any fruit at all the next year. When spring finally arrives, the trees explode with beautiful white and pink flowers that smell sweet and floral. But here is the catch. Most apple trees cannot make fruit all by themselves because they are not self-fertile. They need a little help from their friends, specifically honeybees and other insects that carry pollen from one tree to another. Without these bees, the flowers would just wither away, and we would never get to experience that satisfying crunch of a fresh apple. Once the flower is pollinated, the base of the flower, called the receptacle, begins to swell up and turn into the fruit. This is why apples are called pome fruits, a special category where the fleshy part we eat comes from the flower base. It takes a lot of patience to be an apple farmer because a standard tree can take 8 years before it grows a single apple. Many modern farmers use dwarf trees, which are much smaller and can start producing fruit in just 2 or 3 years. Even though these trees are small, they are incredibly tough and can stay productive for 25 years or more. In the wild, some apple trees have been known to live for over 100 years, standing like ancient guardians of the forest. But let's talk about the apples themselves, because the variety out there is absolutely staggering. There are over 7,500 known varieties of apples grown across the entire globe today. That means if you are a fan of the classic red apple, you are only scratching the surface of what is available. Some apples are as tiny as a cherry, while others can grow to be as big as a large grapefruit. The colors are just as wild, ranging from deep purple and bright red to neon green and soft, creamy yellow. Some varieties have skin that is striped like a tiger, while others are covered in little spots called lenticels that help the fruit breathe. If you like sweet things, you probably reach for a Fuji or a Gala apple because they have a high sugar content. But if you like that sour, mouth-watering zing, the Granny Smith is the undisputed queen of the tart world. Then there is the Honeycrisp, which was specifically engineered to have cells that are twice as large as a normal apple. When you bite into a Honeycrisp, those large cells burst open all at once, which is why they are so famously juicy and loud. Apples are also divided by when they are ready to be picked, with some coming in the summer and others in the late fall. The late-season apples are usually the ones that are better for baking because they are firm and can handle the heat of an oven. But why do we even eat them in the first place, besides the fact that they taste like nature's candy? Well, the old saying about an apple a day keeping the doctor away actually has a lot of truth behind it. A medium-sized apple has about 95 calories, making it a perfect snack that gives you energy without a sugar crash. Most of that goodness is packed into the fiber, specifically a type of soluble fiber called pectin. Pectin is like a superhero for your gut because it helps keep your digestion moving and makes you feel full for longer. This is why apples are great for weight management. They take a while to chew and they take up space in your stomach. They are also about 86% water, so eating an apple is actually a great way to stay hydrated during the day. Inside that crunchy flesh, you will find vitamin C for your immune system and vitamin K for your bone health. But if you peel your apple before eating it, you are actually throwing away the best part of the fruit. The skin contains most of the antioxidants, including something called quercetin, which helps protect your brain and heart. Polyphenol in the skin also help regulate your blood sugar, so your body doesn't get overwhelmed by the natural sugars. Studies have shown that people who eat apples regularly have a lower risk of having a stroke or developing heart disease. It turns out the fiber and antioxidants work together to lower your bad cholesterol and keep your arteries clear. Apples also act as a prebiotic, which means they provide food for the good bacteria living in your digestive system. A healthy gut often leads to a better mood and a stronger immune system, so that one apple is doing a lot of heavy lifting. However, there is a big problem that most people face when they go to the grocery store to buy their fruit. Have you ever wondered why an apple you bought in July tastes so fresh, even though they are usually harvested in the fall? The truth is that the apple you are eating right now might actually be a year old, and it has been sleeping this whole time. Farmers use something called controlled atmosphere storage to basically put the apples into a deep hibernation. They put the fruit in giant rooms where they lower the oxygen and keep the temperature just above freezing. This stops the apple from ripening any further, allowing it to stay crunchy and sweet for months on end. While this is great for having fruit all year, it means the apples we buy aren't always as fresh as they look. Another weird thing about apples is that they are constantly breathing out a gas called ethylene. Ethylene is a natural ripening hormone, and apples produce so much of it that they can affect every other fruit in your kitchen. If you put a ripe apple in a bag with a green banana, that banana will turn yellow and soft in a matter of hours. But this can also be a problem because if one apple in a bowl starts to rot, it releases a huge burst of ethylene. This gas tells all the other apples to ripen and rot too, which is where the phrase "one bad apple spoils the bunch" comes from. It isn't just a metaphor for people. It is a literal warning about the chemistry of fruit storage. When it comes to who is growing all these apples, the numbers are absolutely massive on a global scale. China is by far the biggest producer in the world, growing nearly half of all the apples on the entire planet. The United States and Poland come in next, with states like Washington being famous for their massive orchards. In these places, the apple industry is worth billions of dollars and provides jobs for hundreds of thousands of people. But the way we use apples has changed a lot over the years, from basic food to industrial ingredients. In the early days of America, most apples weren't actually eaten fresh because they were too bitter or sour. Instead, they were crushed down into apple cider, which was the most popular drink for many families. Today, we use apples for everything from vinegar to the pectin used to make your favorite jams and jellies. Even the leftovers from making juice, called apple pomace, are used to feed farm animals so nothing goes to waste. One of the most common questions people ask is whether or not the seeds are actually dangerous to eat. Apple seeds contain a compound called amygdalin, which turns into cyanide when it is crushed and digested. This sounds terrifying, but you would have to chew and swallow hundreds of seeds all at once to feel any bad effects. The tough outer coating of the seed usually lets it pass through your body without any issues at all. Still, it is probably better to just spit them out and stick to the delicious, crunchy flesh of the fruit. Apples are also famous for their role in science, specifically the story of Sir Isaac Newton and the law of gravity. While the story says an apple hit him on the head, he actually just watched one fall and wondered why it went straight down. That simple moment of observation changed the way we understand the entire universe and how planets move. It is amazing to think that a piece of fruit could spark one of the greatest scientific discoveries in human history. But the real magic of the apple is how it has adapted to fit into almost every culture on the planet. Whether it is a French tart, an American pie, or a spicy Indian chutney, the apple is a culinary chameleon. It can be soft and warm in a crumble or cold and crisp in a summer salad, making it incredibly versatile. The next time you walk through the produce aisle, take a second to look at the different names on the stickers. Each one of those names represents a different story, a different flavor, and a different piece of history. Maybe try a variety you have never heard of before, like a Braeburn, a Pink Lady, or a Jazz Apple. You might find a new favorite flavor that you never knew existed in the world of common fruit. Apples are a reminder that even the most ordinary things in our lives have extraordinary secrets if we look close enough. They have traveled thousands of miles across mountains and oceans just to end up on our kitchen tables. They feed our bodies with vitamins and our minds with stories of gravity and ancient rose gardens. So, the next time you hear that satisfying snap of a fresh apple, remember the bees and the bears of Kazakhstan. Remember the years of growth and the silent hibernation and cold storage that brought that fruit to you. It is a tiny miracle of nature that we often take for granted because it is so easy to find. But now that you know the truth about them, you will never look at a simple red apple the same way again. Make sure to check out our other video on the screen right now to learn more amazing secrets about the food you eat.